Welcome back to Connection to Excellence, where I decided to interview some really successful entrepreneurs and also entrepreneurs who are on their way to get really successful. Today, my guest is Susan Schöning, and Susan combines Eastern philosophy and Vedic psychology with Western coaching, counseling, and cognitive behavior therapy techniques to help people to understand and mastering their life. So I'm really happy to have you here, Susan, in my show. Even the technique is not working and your camera is not working. We are so sorry for that, but we decided anyway to make this interview. So very welcome, Susan, to my show.
Thank you so much. And I apologize to everybody that my camera is not working. I think my cat walked over one of the cables, pulled the cable out, and of course, I now don't have my camera working. But Kornelia and I decided that we were going to go ahead with this interview anyway. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Kornelia. It's great to be with you.
Thank you that you are here, that you took your time to be in my show. So for everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Kornelia Müller. I'm a leadership and high performance coach, and I'm specialized to connect people with their heart and with their higher self so that their brain and heart works totally perfect together to reach really great results in any area of their life. So now back to you, Susan. It's for me, it's a little bit funny to look always to your picture. It's not so I'm sorry for that sometimes it's confusing me a little bit. So Susan, what I would like to know, and I also guess people would like to know, what is Vedic astrology and Vedic psychology?
So Vedic, everybody has heard about astrology. Everybody has heard about, are you a Taurus or are you a Capricorn? Everybody has heard about the stars and your birth sign and all of this. Vedic astrology is something very different, and it's something much, much deeper. It was something that was cognized by ancient Hindu seers thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, in meditation, in deep meditation, where they isolated themselves from society, and they went into a very deep space to try and understand how the universe worked, how things operated, and what were the building blocks of the universe. And in a very deep space of cognized understanding, they came to this awareness of that the universe was comprised of the planets, and that each planet had an energy, each planet had an identity, each planet had a different intelligence and a different vibration. So it wasn't, that if you were born under Saturn or if you were born under Capricorn, you were this kind of person. What the ancients saw was that there was a vibration and there was an intelligence to the way the different planets communicated with each other, and that they impacted and they affected everything to do with the energy on Earth. And it was something that they looked at and they could see was represented in absolutely everything, whether we were talking relationships, whether we were talking the way that animals were living, whether we were talking about the environment, that we could see the aspects of the universe displayed around us. And they called the study of this, they called the study Jyotish. And people who learn this, and they learn how to interpret, and they learn the different aspects of Vedic astrology, they're called Jyotishis. And the Jyotishis are then able to look and see what's happening in terms of the vibration and the intelligence, and they're able to then see how people are living their lives and what they should be doing and how they should be operating. So it is a very, very in-depth, very intense study of life and the laws of the universe.
Wow, it sounds really interesting. So
Yeah.
what can we see in the Vedic chart, and why is it so powerful to understand our chart?
Okay, so what I'd like people to imagine is when a baby is born and he takes his very first breath. What he's doing is he's breathing in an intelligence that is in the universe at that moment in time. He's breathing in an energy, he's breathing in a vibration, but more importantly, he's breathing in an intelligence that exists in the universe at that moment in time. And with that first breath, what happens is he breathes it into his body. And that intelligence awakens his physical body. Every cell in a baby's body responds to that first breath. But when we're talking Vedic psychology, we now say that that first breath goes deeper. And it actually then starts to awaken the emotional body. And it goes deeper and it awakens the mental body and the spiritual body. And all of this, it's like a chemical reaction that happens as that baby takes that first breath into his body. It's almost like the universe is rushing into this baby saying, here you are. And then what happens is that that baby breathes out his breath into the universe with that great big lusty cry as he goes, wah! And it's almost as if he's saying to the universe, here I am. And at that moment of that first breath, there is a divine contract that we start to see. And by studying a birth chart of what was happening at that moment when a baby took his first breath, we can start to see what is your blueprint. What is the blueprint about who you are and who you have the potential to be? We start to see the experiences that you are going to have in life and how you are likely to respond. We start to see your personality, we can see your characteristics, we can see your behavior, your actions. We can really now, as we understand your chart, what strengthens you? What weakens you? Where are you your very best, at your highest potential? Where do you sabotage yourself? Everybody has got the potential to be their own worst enemy. Everybody's got the potential to sabotage themselves. And what we can do when we study a Vedic chart is we can actually look at that point of sabotage and we can see what you need to do to get past it. A Vedic chart tells us where you are now, exactly where you are in your life now. But the most important thing is it always gives you the awareness and it gives you the tools of what you need to do to move through this. So if you're in a difficult space, if you're in a hard space, it's not just reading your chart and saying, oh, I'm sorry, you're having a rough time. It's about reading the chart and being able to say, and this is what you need to do to pull through it. If you're in a space where you're launching a business or you are in a relationship, studying a chart will allow you to see what to do to maximize it to its highest potential, because you can see when things are being supported and when things aren't. So there is an enormous amount of power that you can understand when you have your chart done. It's almost like looking at yourself very, very deeply in the mirror and seeing yourself for the first time, but then being given the keys to be able to unlock your absolute power.
Wow. Wow, it's so, yeah, it's really, wow, it's amazing. I really have to come to you, Susan. We know
With pleasure.
For a while, but I never had the idea to make that, but it sounds really so interesting for me. I have to do that.
With pleasure, we can. I must tell you, Kornelia, this is one of these studies that you never, ever study it and say, I now know everything about it. It is a lifelong passion, and it's something that the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, and the more you realize there is so much more to learn. So for me, it has become such a passion of mine to see the different aspects of Jyotish and the different aspects of Vedic astrology in people, in situations, in companies, in countries. It's just such an exhilarating study for me.
Wow. So, and can you explain us a little bit the difference between Vedic astrology and normal astrology?
Okay, so normal astrology is based on the tropical zodiac. What that means is that the constellations keep moving. And Vedic astrology is based on the sidereal zodiac. And what that means is that everything is fixed. So if you look at the study of Western astrology, there are very different elements today than there were 2,000 years ago. And the reason being is because the constellations keep moving, because it's working on the tropical zodiac. The power of the Vedic astrology is that it is based on the fixed sidereal zodiac. So what was cognized 60,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, is as true today as it was when it was first cognized. And that for me is one of the powers, because we say that truth endures. Truth doesn't evolve, truth just is. And what was true 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago with Vedic astrology is just as true today. So for me, that is an incredibly powerful energy, that I'm working with something that was cognized by the ancients, divinely cognized, and that truth is still valid today. The second thing is that in Vedic astrology, we use the 12 signs. You know, just as we do in Western astrology, we use the 12 signs and we use the 12 houses. But now what we're working with, instead of working with the range of planets that you would find in Western astrology, we work with the 7 planets and the 2 nodes of the moon that were apparent to the ancients when they studied this. And so we're working with the 7 planets. We do not work with Uranus. We do not work with Pluto, for example. We work with the 7 major planets, and we work with 2 nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu. And then what sets it apart is we work with the 27 lunar mansions, not just one aspect of the moon, but 27 different aspects of the moon. And what this does is it gives us a very, very in-depth view of your psyche, of your emotional body, of your spiritual potential. So these are some of the differences, but the most important thing is in Vedic astrology, we use the dasha system. And what that means is that you can very, very specifically, to a point in time, literally to the second, you can see what energy is operating in a person's chart at any specific time. So we can look at somebody's chart and we can see, for instance, that they have an energy that is operating that is causing massive delays. We can see to the minute, to the second, when that energy of delay is lifted and an energy of flow or an energy of action starts to move. We can see if somebody's having marriage difficulties, when an energy of difficulty or darkness lifts and clarity and coherence returns. So what it does is it allows people to really, really plan what they're doing and plan it very, very powerfully. If you're launching a business, Kornelia, I call it the cosmic river. If you're launching a business, you want to know that you're launching it at a time when all the intelligence of the universe is supporting the business that you're about to launch. If you're getting married, you want to know that the energy is supporting a beautiful relationship. You want to be in a space where you're working with the energy, with the nature flow, and harnessing it. And so this is one of the things that we can see in Vedic astrology, is the exact timing when we can do these things.
Wow. Really amazing, you know. Wow, it's really great. I love that. So what kind of work do you actually with the client when the clients are coming to you?
I always would start off with a birth chart, always. Because once we understand the birth chart, then we can understand why the person is in the situation they are in, how they respond, you know, what they need to work with, what they need to heal, what they need to let go of. So we always start off with a birth chart. I do a lot of family blueprints. And the reason being is because in a Vedic chart, you can see very beautifully mom's journey, dad's journey, the grandparents' journey. You can see that ancestral line of the challenges that have followed down the family line. And so I do a lot of family blueprints. I do a lot of healing of what is past, you know, because we are all people who have walked on a journey. And sometimes our journey has been difficult. So using the chart, we can see where we need to heal, but most importantly, what we need to do to heal. You know, sometimes we might have gone through a very difficult situation and we've tried healing, or we've tried different types, and it hasn't worked. And then we say, oh, healing doesn't work for me, or therapy doesn't work for me. When we're working with somebody's chart, we know exactly what kind of healing is appropriate and when, you know. And so what it does is it helps the person to come to a very deep understanding of themselves, and it helps them to be able to step into healing, because now it's uniquely tailor-made for them. But one of the beautiful works that I do is I work with archetypes. I do an enormous amount of work with archetypes, because in Vedic astrology, we can now see your leading energy. So we can see your leading archetype. And in a chart, everybody will have at least 3 archetypes, and some people might have 5 or 6. But we can see your leading archetypes. And I do believe when people get to know their archetypes, they can really unlock the power of that archetypal dance. But we can also see your sabotaging archetypes, you know, so where you're sabotaging archetypes and what they're trying to do. We can see what triggers you. We can see what archetypes are running your money, your power, your relationships, your work, your family, your sport, your health, your God. So I do an enormous amount of work with the Vedic archetypes. And that is just such a very beautiful work, because it really is very empowering for people to see who they are and who they have the potential to be.
Wow. I can only say wow. I'm so wow. Okay. No words for that. So what I can hear is you have really a lot of wisdom of that. So how long are you doing this work already, and how did you come to this? What was going on in you?
So it was I've been doing this work now since 1998. And studying and learning and studying and learning really for the last 21, 22 years. How I came to this, it was the last thing on my mind, Kornelia. I was running a public relations company. So, and I worked for a lot of medical clients at the time in South Africa, and it was my job to write medical press releases. And one of my clients that I worked for was an infertility clinic. And they sent me off to go and interview a psychologist that they were working with. And I met this man, and he was telling me how with hypnosis, he was able to take women who were struggling to fall pregnant, and how through hypnosis, he was able to take them to a point of going through their fears, putting down their anxiety, and doing an enormous amount of healing under this hypnotic state. And that so many women were then able to go and fall pregnant after this. It fascinated me. It absolutely fascinated me that you could do this kind of thing, that you could actually put down trauma, and you could do it in a space when the mind stops thinking and the spirit takes over, or the emotions are given a way of healing, of how we could change people's lives and how we could change people's destinies. And I walked away from that meeting and I said, I want to do that. I want to do what that man does. I want to be able to see how I can help people to change their lives so completely differently. And I went back to university. I studied psychology, and I started studying anything I could get my hands on. So I did cognitive behavioral therapy. I did neuro-linguistic programming. And at the same time as I was studying all of these Western psychological tools, I was being pulled onto a very, very spiritual journey. And I was very fortunate to be able to study with an Indian spiritual teacher in Johannesburg in South Africa. And I studied with him for many, many years. And he was the one who opened up my eyes to the spiritual component, and that it was all very well and fine to do work on the mind and on the emotions, but you really needed to pull in the spirit, mind, body, spirit. And all of this was all happening at the same time. And, but it started, my interest started because I met the psychologist who was changing people's lives. And it was like, I want to do that. And that's what started the whole journey. And I've been doing this now for the last 22 years. And as I say, the more I learn about this, the more that I do this, the more I discover there's more that I want to learn.
Great. Super. So do you have any new project, or do you have anything to offer to our audience here?
So one of the things that I'm working on at the moment is sacred conversations. And it's the most beautiful series of conversations where we go very, very deep into who you are, why you are, what holds you back, where you want to go. And we really, really get very, very deep into how to unlock where you are now to the next level. And this is something that I've been offering to my clients since January this year. And it is phenomenal, Kornelia. It is going so very well. We get into your archetypes, we get into your triggers, we really get into your sabotage. And we have a series of sacred conversations around your money, around your relationships, around yourself, and all of this. And I would like to offer this to anybody who is listening. We will put the link into the comments a little bit later. But I would like to offer this to anybody who's listening, that I've got a special offer that's on Sacred Conversations at the moment. And anybody who's listening is more than welcome to take up this special offer.
Wow, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan. And you also have a website, I guess. We also put that underneath.
Yes, yeah. I will put put the PDF and the link so that people can then actually come and have a look, and they can see exactly what it is we do. And it includes some webinars, it includes some group work, a lot of meditation, a lot of worksheets, some videos, some podcasts, and then, of course, those one-on-one sessions where we really get into what's going on in your life. So.
Great, super. So is there anything else what you would like to tell our audience or recommend or whatever?
Okay, so everybody I have spoken to has said how very busy 2019 has been. It's been such an exceptionally busy year, and running around, some of us are running around like a chicken without a head. And the good news, and that I want to leave our listeners with, is that this very, very busy energy that we have at the moment is beginning to calm down over the next couple of months into results. You know, sometimes we are very, very busy and we get nothing done because we're just like a tornado spinning in the wind. And sometimes we have so much going on that we're just like running from pillar to post. The energy that we are moving into, I spoke about that cosmic river. The energy that the cosmic river is supporting over the next couple of months is an energy of extreme traction. So it's kind of like we start something, we do the work, we complete the work, and we will see the results. So it's a very, very powerful energy. So for anybody who's been in a space where they've been saying, oh my God, there's so much to do and not enough time to get it done, the next couple of months is a really very, very strong, very powerful period of actually seeing what I'm working on coming to completion and coming to very strong results. So for me, I find that very empowering. I find that very, very supportive after the very crazy couple of months that we've had in this year. It's a year of, it's a period of traction, and it's a period of powerful results.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susan, that you took your time and to be here in my show, and for this great interview. Wow, so much great content what you gave to us. It's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's been wonderful. And again, my apologies for the camera, but thank you to everybody for listening. And I hope that you found some value out of this. Thank you, Kornelia.
Thank you. Yes, and also I hope that we were a contribution for you who are looking this or watching this show. And we both wish you a great weekend, a fantastic weekend. And unfortunately, next week I will be not here in Facebook because I'm on my way. But after that, in 2 weeks, we continue this show. So all my love to you, all the best to you. Bye-bye.